speaking of 2024 contenders, a new poll out today shows several top Republican candidates slipping among GOP caucus voters in Iowa. The most notable is Trump, who's down 12 points, Ron DeSantis down 6, but Mike Pence, who has staked really the majority of his campaign in the Hawkeye state, also saw a drop in support, down to 3% from 5% in May. And Iowans aren't really shy about it. This was from a campaign stop on Tuesday.
Leave and get the out of our country and get the out of Iowa.
I'm going to put him down as a maybe.
All right, we like a little humor there, but funny or not, Pence's conservative personal values and messaging simply make sense in Iowa as opposed to maybe somewhere like New Hampshire. Voters there are a bit more rogue. And then if you take a look at Florida, well, that's really a turf war between Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis. Here's Pence last week.
So today I ask my fellow Republicans this. In the days to come, will we be the party of conservatism, or will we follow the siren song of populism?
But did you notice a shift after the first Republican debate on August 23rd? Pence really seemed to have changed to a more aggressive strategy against his opponents. Here he is.
Now is not the time for on-the-job training. We don't need to bring in a rookie. We don't need to bring in people without experience. We need to bring
All right, so what does Mike Pence have to do to pull off any kind of an upset? He's only polling nationally around 5%. Fortunately for him, Leland has him in the chair tonight. Maybe he'll ask him that very question. To preview it, we do have him on the show. He's also the host of this show. Leland, thank you so much for taking the time as you prepare for the debate. All right, let's talk about
I'm normally busy.
The guest
Yeah,
on your...
I'm normally busy right now
Okay,
this time of day, but I'm glad to be able to join you. Look, this is the problem for Mike Pence, is he is a man right now without a party or without a constituency, in that the MAGA side of the Republican Party, is evidenced by the clip you played, views him as a traitor. And that's a harsh word, but that's really how hardcore Donald Trump supporters view Mike Pence. On the other side, and we see this play out, the non-Trump part of the Republican Party doesn't trust him because he was so loyal to Donald Trump for so long. And the challenge for Mike Pence is, as somebody without either of those core constituencies, to try to convince enough people in both camps that he can be trusted, that he is a man of principle and a man of conservative ideals, and that he is then able to lead the Republican Party, not the Republican Party of Ronald Reagan, but the Republican Party where it is today.
Well, when you talk about that core constituency, would you argue that he has put a lot of effort into Iowa, perhaps all of his eggs so far, still very, very early, but it's a place where he could really shine, right? That's his core values. Yeah. He can really relate to the people there. Has he done it? Has he done it?
Well, Rick Santorum, Mike Huckabee, there have been a number of people who've surprised in Iowa. And also on the Democratic side, a number of people have surprised in Iowa. Mike Pence is sort of, on paper, the perfect Iowa candidate, right? Conservative values, evangelical Christian, consistent conservative values over time, very good retail politician. In an old world would score high on the cares about people like me meter. Check, 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 check. Comes from Indiana, also an agricultural state, a rural state, same as Iowa. Okay, so why isn't he doing better? That goes back to the issues we talked about before, but also this issue. Ronald Reagan famously said about being a Democrat once that I didn't leave the Democratic Party left me. And there's an argument to be made that Mike Pence hasn't left the Republican Party. But the Republican Party, or the core Republican electorate as it is, has left him. That there may not be a lane right now for Mr. Nice Guy, for sort of that old, happy-go-lucky, strong, broad-shouldered politician. They want somebody right now who will really mix it up. And I think you rightly played that clip from the debate that shows a very different and more aggressive Mike Pence than we've shown in the past. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.